Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Civic Leadership Academy, fall of 2025. I am Jackie Rocco, and I'm the Assistant City Manager, and our City Manager, David Wilson, could not be with us tonight, but he sends his regrets, and he knows that we will all have a wonderful time here today, and you'll get to see him throughout the course of this academy. So welcome, everyone. Just as a general overview introduction, the Civic Leadership Academy was established to create a forum to empower individuals to enhance our community by becoming civic leaders and advocates. And over the course of this academy, you're going to hear from all of our various departments and divisions throughout the city so that you are very familiar with all the functions of city government, how city government works. So I now have the distinct honor of welcoming our wonderful mayor, Chelsea Byers.
Thank you. Good evening and congratulations on the journey you are here to embark on. We're really so excited about this program existing, but more importantly, your interest in making it happen. This is the 4th cohort now. Which means there's at least 75 other individuals out in the community who have gone through this experience as well. And with the addition of the 25 of you who are starting, that means there's a really amazing bigger cohort of civic leaders out in the community for you all to connect with. I think this program is so special because of the relationships you get to establish with each other, but also with the city staff. They become a vehicle for information and for a resource exchange, and you become ambassadors for that information out in the community into all the different corners and people that you get to connect with. So we really appreciate your time invested into this, to getting the information, to learning, because it'll help us become better as a city in all of the ways. And I mean us in the biggest way possible, not just the city council and the city staff, but all of us as a community. It takes people understanding what's happening and then having a vision for how we can make it better for the future in order to actually make that work happen. So just thank you all so much for your commitment. I'm happy to be a resource. I will not be here throughout the course of this program, but it will be dropping by as many times as I can. But I always hope you know that I am a phone call, a text, an Instagram DM away. Very happy to be here to connect with you outside of this space for coffee, meet up in the park, anything like that, just for you to get more feeling of that sort of connection and relationship. We are, after all, just a 36,000 person, 1.89 square mile city. And I think it's a really special opportunity we have to really weave all these connections together and make ourselves stronger as a community too. So thank you again for your investment in this program, for your investment in making yourselves more equipped with information to support the city in all the ways that will need you out there. And thank you to the amazing city staff who will help make sure this happens for the next 10 weeks. All right, good luck everyone. Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge that we have with us here tonight Steve Campbell, our Deputy City Manager. We have Janet Jimenez, our Director of Administrative Services, and Joshua Scher, our Director of Communications, all have joined us tonight to share this amazing program with all of you. As you heard the mayor talk about this commitment of time, it's a major investment that you're making to learn about how city government works. This is going to be 9 weeks of civic excitement for all of you. As you know, this is going to be assembled into 2-hour sessions, and you have all received a binder with information that has the calendar and session materials, so make sure you review it, and if you have any questions, our team is going to be introduced shortly, and we are available to answer any questions as they come up and throughout the length of the program. So just know that you must attend at least 7 sessions to complete the academy, and we do have a final ceremony where our mayor usually joins us and, you know, presents a certificate and it's a photo op for all of you, but we look forward to this journey with all of you. So let us know and communicate with us if any questions or concerns come up throughout this process so that we can assist you. All right. So our project team, is comprised of our city manager, David Wilson. As I mentioned, he had a family emergency and he can't be with us. But David has been a long-term employee of the city. He's been here since 1999, so he has had quite a tenure with our city. And he's an Angelino. I know that a lot of us that are not from Los Angeles, or California for that matter, sometimes wonder when we run into a native Californian, and David is one of them. But you will get to meet him probably at the next session and beyond, so stay tuned for meeting David if you haven't already met him. And sorry, I got this wrong. Some of you already know me, but again, I'm Jackie Rocco. I'm the Assistant City Manager. I've been with the city since 2008. It's been an amazing journey with the city. I was born in New York, grew up in Puerto Rico, but I've been in California for so long that I feel like a native. Just some general information about me. Went to UCLA. Yes, I'm a Bruin. I know there's probably a lot of Trojans here. Yes. For both undergrad and graduate school, and it was a great opportunity. And just fun fact, I just have this amazing little cat named Maya that I just adore. But I have had the opportunity also to hold different roles in the city. I started as the parking operations manager, and then I was business development manager, director of public works, deputy city manager, and now assistant city manager. So I've had a great journey here in the city, learning different aspects of city government and interacting with our amazing community. Next, we have Andy Lovano.
I'll just stand over here. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy Lovano. I am the assistant to the city manager. I have a new title as of Monday, so I'm getting used to it. So I am sort of from the area. I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley area. I went to University of San Diego for my undergrad and also UCLA for my master's in public policy. So far we're outnumbered here. For my hobby, I am chasing my 2-year-old around all the time, so that's pretty much 99% of what I do when I'm not working. I've been working with the council members in some capacity for about 10 years now, but before that, I also, when I first started the city, I was an intern in our social services division. Started when I was in grad school, and so I've been working at the city since then in various capacities. So very nice to meet you all, and looking forward to the rest of tonight and the future sessions. Thank you.
Next, we have Yasmin.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's nice to meet you all in person. I'm the person you've been corresponding with, Yasmin Spiteri, and also new to my role as management analyst. It's been about a month, but I'm really happy and grateful to be here with you tonight. I'm originally from the Bay Area, but I'm happily rooted here in LA now for over a decade, and have worked in the city for 6 years, originally for rent stabilization, and now happy to be here with the city manager's department. In terms of my fun fact, I love animals. I have 4 dogs and 2 cats, and I also ride horses on the weekends, so that's me. Thank you.
We have Dina.
Hello, I'm Dina Baram. I'm also new to my role. I'm an Administrative Specialist 3 within the City Manager's Department. And I was hired 3.5 years ago in May of 2022. So I was born in Los Angeles, grew up in West Hollywood, so it feels, yes, it's very rewarding to give back to the same community that I was raised in. I attended UC San Diego. I don't know if there's any Trident haters in the room, but I have a BA in communication from there. And then prior to working within the city manager's department, I was working in West Hollywood's Recreation Services division. Yes, former coworker Steve. And then in my free time, I enjoy drawing, painting, playing pickleball, tennis, and taking photos. And then for my fun fact and disclaimer, it's like a 2-in-1. I'm a fraternal twin, but everyone thinks we're identical. So if ever you think you ran into me and I don't recognize you, I'm not rude. It's just the wrong person, and it's happened. So there you go.
Hi, Hi, everyone. I am Melissa Crowder. That is a very big headshot of me. They made it to match theirs, but I didn't have the same photographer, so I was like, my God, that's a really big picture of my head. I am the city clerk. I have been with West Hollywood since 2014. I started as the assistant city clerk and became the city clerk in 2021. Prior to that, I was with the city adjacent to us in Beverly Hills, and I was there for 15 years. So I have been in local government for 25 years plus. I was born in Alexandria, Virginia, so no, not a native Angelino. And then strangely enough, my parents thought it was a great idea for me to spend 1 year in California with my mom and 1 year in Virginia with my dad. So as you can imagine, junior high and high school were not that fun for me, but that's okay. I got my degree later in life while I was employed with Beverly Hills, and so I have a degree in organizational leadership from Woodbury University. But for purposes of West Hollywood and my role as city clerk, my master municipal clerk designation is really what educated me to do this role and all the things that I do for the city. I enjoy spending time with my family. We love going to national parks. We were in Banff this time last year. I would love to be back there because it was absolutely gorgeous. We like going hiking, and I love spending time with my 2 grandkids and going to soccer games. So thank you so much. I look forward to meeting all of you this evening.
Thank you. Well, this is a great team that you're going to be interacting with throughout this process. And now we want to know all of you. We want to get to know you, so we want to go around and we want you to tell us your name, and we want to learn one fun fact about each and every one of you.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi, my name is Charlize, and I also grew up in the Bay Area. Yasmin, I grew up in San Francisco, and I studied political science at Berkeley and moved here for grad school and studied digital media at USC. Fight on. And my fun fact is I have a cat named Miso.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Gonzalez. Born and raised in California, but I'm actually from the San Joaquin Valley, so that's like Fresno, Bakersfield area. Let me give those landmarks, you'll know that. Fun fact, I can pop almost every bone in my body, including my sternum and tailbone.
Whoa. Okay, top that one, Steve.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Pennifield. I am originally from the island of Guam and lived here in the city of West Hollywood for about 10 years now. I serve as a commissioner as well for the LGBTQ+. And one fun fact about me is I was a U.S. Army veteran for 6 years.
So many fun facts. Hi, everyone. Hey, Melissa. I did not recognize you with that hair. Hi, my name is Chiadu Ibuniwe. Oh my God. Woo! Cat. Of course it's you, Cat. And my fun fact really is my name. It is Nigerian. My father's Nigerian. My mother is Jamaican. I'm also with Steve on the LGBTQ+ commission. I've lived in West Hollywood for 22 years, and I love this place. So it's great to see everyone.
Welcome.
Hey y'all, my name is Desiree Hall. I'm originally from Willacoochee, Georgia. I've been in West Hollywood for 2 years. I graduated from Georgetown University with a degree in biology of global health. I do not do anything with that degree because I am a musician. My fun fact is I play the banjo.
Hi, my name is Trent, originally from Alabama, so I love to hear that there's a fellow Southerner. Came to West Hollywood probably 3.5 years ago, so loving it out here in California. Work as an AI engineer, and fun fact, I guess that's the last thing. I guess this kind of relates to the twin thing. I have a brother who's an Irish twin. We're 11 months apart, but we get mistaken as twins, identical twins all the time, so. It's a little bit about me. Excited to work with you guys with this leadership program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nathan Bengalil. I moved here from Metro Detroit about a year ago, so brand new to WeHo. Fun fact about me, I love skincare. I'm a dermatologist, so happy to give any skincare advice.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Farhad. I currently attend UCSD. I'm actually moving back tomorrow, but fun fact about me is I raise monarch butterflies. I advocate for their conservation and for more conservation status for them. I've successfully released 15 or so butterflies this summer. So, yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Frank Rory, and I am a 20-year resident of the city, but I was originally born and raised in San Pedro, so not too far. I went to USC undergrad in law. I have a law practice here in the city, and I currently serve on the Rent Commission. And fun fact about me is that I have an 11-year-old daughter at home, so she keeps me lots of fun.
Hi, everybody. My name is George Velasquez. I'm originally from LA, grew up in East Hollywood, went to school at UC Irvine, have a degree in biological sciences. I'm actually not working in biological sciences. I work in property management, been doing that for 16 years. Fun fact, I'm a runner. I enjoy running pretty much at least 5 miles twice a week, something like that. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jader France. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Been here in Cleveland. Oh yes, Midwest. Okay, Cleveland adjacent. All right. The love is there. Okay. I am a longtime employee of the city. I've been here for quite some time. I'll just say it like that. In the facilities and field services division. Fun fact about me is that I like to write short stories and short films and actually produce and write a lot of films. So I'm having fun with that. So enjoy.
Good evening. My name is Ed. I'm a native Californian. Grew up in San Gabriel Valley as well, San Dimas. No, I do not know Bill and Ted. I'm an Army vet, joined to get out of California, ended up serving right back up in Fort Ord, California, back in the late 80s. I did combat in Panama. Fun fact about me, I collect Disney ears from Disneyland. I've just got my 30th set for their 70th anniversary this last Saturday. So, love Disney.
Hi there, I'm David Sobel, native of Los Angeles, grew up on the west side, have lived in this area, not like on the edge of West Hollywood for 28 years, but always like a block away. Fun fact, I feel so lame compared. My youngest daughter just moved back from college, graduated college, moved back, so thrilled to have something to do at night. But, no, just kidding. I don't know, that's it for that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. Fun fact about me is I was a house painter for about 15 years, and I was also a mechanic for 12 years. That's all I have.
Right. Hi, I'm Sophie Schaefer-Landau. I am thoroughly Midwestern, coming from Madison, Wisconsin, but have lived in LA for over 12 years now and in West Hollywood for over 8. My fun fact, I like to say I throw raves for the government. I work for the state of California, but a very unique state position, I would say. I work for the California Natural Resources Agency, technically, overseeing events and development for Exposition Park. So stadiums, museums, and a lot of raves, yeah. So it's a good time.
Hi, I'm Joe. As you can probably tell from my accent, I am not a native Californian. I am from the UK, but have been living in LA for about 6 years. I work for APLA Health. I run their substance use program. We have services in Baldwin Hills and in WeHo, so super keen to learn more about the city and how it operates. And shameless plug, we're hosting a town hall on substance use at the Aquatic Center on Monday at 7 p.m., so please come, it'll be cool. Yeah, and my fun fact is I have technically survived the plane crash. I was in a plane and it crashed into a deer, which is weird, but yeah. It was at Christmas time and it was in the air. It jumped into the plane. We hit a deer in midair, so we killed Rudolph. It was in Virginia for all you Virginians. So yeah.
I don't think I can be that. Michael Pacitti. I moved to West Hollywood full-time 5 or 6 years ago, but I've been here on and off for probably 15 years or so. Moved from New York City, went to Columbia University, and fun fact, I have a little pug that I adopted. He goes from narcolepsy to Cujo, so his name's Buddy.
Oh, me, yes. Hi. Marlene Esquivel. I live in West Hollywood for like 8 years. I'm a local native from LA. I grew up in Southeast LA, little town called Linwood. What else? Ooh, fun fact about me. I've been to 29 states out of 50. I work in politics, so I've literally traveled all over the country working, like I'm just like a hitman for like elections. And so, yeah. And my partner's running for WeHo City Council, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Oh, I'm also on the Social Justice Advisory Committee. So, yeah.
I am not standing because I don't know why everyone else. Oh, thank you, thank you. My name's Catherine. That applies as well. I'm not standing. Let's see, I am a 20-some-odd year resident of this city, which I don't pimp out because I find that so obnoxious when I hear people doing that. But I've actually I've either lived or owned in this city for 27 years. My fun fact is I curse like a sailor and I smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah, I've witnessed that.
Thank you. My name is Adam Green, and I'll give you, and I lived like 20-some years with my family in West Hollywood, and am a member of the West Hollywood West Residents Association, which sort of covers this area right here. 2 fun facts. Number 1, I met Chairman Mao Zedong in China. I was part of the first, I went to UC Berkeley, of course. So I was part of the first delegation of students that were invited by the Chinese government to meet with Zhou Enlai and Chairman Mao during the height of the Vietnam War, because the Chinese wanted to understand what was going on in terms of the American student movement. And number 2 was I now volunteer at the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank on Alameda, downtown. It's wonderful. And the USC football team, I know there's a few Trojans here, but more Bruins. The USC football team came in while I was bagging carrots, and they all have to show up to do their social service requirements in order to be on the team. And they all showed up a few weeks ago, and it was a blast meeting these large, double large guys. So, but that's the LA Regional Food Bank downtown. If you're interested in going out there, it's a fantastic experience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Palmieri. I was born in Argentina, lived in Italy, and then came to the United States in Connecticut and moved to West Hollywood when I attended USC. I have a degree in film and communications from USC and a doctorate from Columbia University in training and developing creative entrepreneurs. My fun fact, I'm also part of the new West Hollywood Business Task Force, which I'm really excited about. Fun fact, I'm planning a trip which will complete my desire to have visited every single one of the continents in the world, and that's to Antarctica.
Hi, my name is Adam Kiki Charles. I am originally from New York, Long Island, although I've moved around a ton. I've been in West Hollywood now for 4 years. I moved here after finishing my MBA. I was at MIT. I currently work at a impact investing fund. And my fun fact is I went to high school in Bermuda, which is different.
Best sitting down. Howard, I'm Joshua Bam. I was born in LA and I've been 7 months in Texas. Never go to Texas. It's way worse than you could ever imagine. I'm a lifelong Southern Californian. I'm an urban economist, have been economic research. The director of housing challenges and creative economy here in LA County. And at some point over the course of this fellowship,
Hey everybody, I'm Erin Taylor, Media and Marketing Manager for the City of West Hollywood in this amazing place. My fun fact, and we'll share more next week when we're actually part of the agenda, but my fun fact, I guess, went to American University. And one of the biggest things that I focus on in my work and everything I do is making a difference in the community. So, more next week.
Hi, I'm Joshua Scher. I am the city's Director of Communications. You'll learn more about me and Erin and our colleagues in communications next week, next Wednesday, right here. Be here. My fun fact, I'm not a Bruin, I'm not a Trojan. I went to Santa Cruz and the mascot for Santa Cruz is the banana slugs. We are the banana slugs.
Hi, Steve Campbell. I grew up and continue to live in the San Gabriel Valley. I've been working for the city since 2009, 2010, somewhere around there, so I've been here a little while. I started as the Facilities and Field Services Manager. I was the Director of Recreation and Facilities for a while. It was a different title at that time, and Director of Public Works, and I'm currently serving as the Deputy City Manager. Fun fact about me, I enjoy fishing. I just got back from a 5-day trip that was prolific, so lots of fish in the freezer.
Good evening, I am Janet Jimenez, Director of Administrative Services. I have been with the city since 2007, can't believe I'm saying that, in various roles, started in parking, code enforcement, city manager's office, and then admin services. Originally from the LA area, born in Santa Monica, relocated to New Mexico, San Diego, and back to LA. So I've completed that triangle. Fun fact about me, I don't think there's a single sport I'm not willing to talk about or go friendly wager or go to and experience. So if you want to talk sports, I do want to know how you're a Tampa Bay fan, so we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, not Chiefs, right?
Yeah. So we have. No, she doesn't know. Yeah, of course.
Another Cal person.
Hi, everyone. I'm just here observing. I will be presenting in week 7 or 8. My name is Nicole Clinton. I work for the clerk's office, and I review all of the city's contracts, which you'll learn we are a contract city, so there are lots. And that's a fun fact is I think I know one of you, and I will wait until the break to tell you who.
Well, great to know all of you and some fun facts. And now I'm turning this over to Yasmin to give you a program overview.
I loved reading all the bios and statements that you all shared. We have such an incredible group of people here, so I'm excited to hear from all of you. So for this program, we will be running from tonight through early December. December 3rd is our last session, the commencement. And we'll be meeting, as you did tonight, 5:30 p.m. in the community meeting room for dinner, and then 6 to 8 p.m. for programming here in the chambers. You'll see here on the screen a full list of the sessions that we have planned for you. We're going to travel across all the core areas of our city's work, including governance, communications, public safety, and more. So by the end of it, you'll have a 360-degree view of how our city, West Hollywood, operates. You also have a copy of the schedule in your binder, so if you didn't get one already, please get one on your way out. For tonight, we're going to have the orientation and city governance section, which includes city manager's division or department, city clerk, and city attorney. And then you'll see the rest of the sessions listed here. We'll be together for 9 weeks total, and we're excited to have you. So to walk us through how each of the evening is set up and will flow, I'm going to hand it over to Dina.
So the breakdown of most sessions is going to be pretty similar to today. So There we go. But you do have this in your binder as well. So 5:30, if you would like dinner, which we did provide today, we ask that you are there before, because we would like to start each session promptly at 6 like we did today, and then kick off welcome. We divided the content into 2 blocks so that you're not just sitting here and consuming a whole bunch of info, so that in between those 2 you have a break. Then we will wrap up, and at 8, if there's an optional mingle for those of you that want to stay back, get to know each other better, get to know staff, that is something that you guys could take part in. And then, so these evening sessions, they're 2.5 hours. The actual session is 2 with the included dinner. That's an additional 30. You're welcome to arrive early, like some of you did today, and you're welcome to stay later with the optional mingle. And then the daytime sessions, we are going to have 1. Those will be 3 hours. They involve field trips, and so they will be on a Saturday, and you have that in your schedule. It's going to be a tour. And then if you have any questions throughout the entirety of the program, feel free to email us at academy@weho.org, and we will respond to you promptly. I will pass it on to Jackie to talk about our city.
Okay. Now you're going to learn about the city of West Hollywood and how this wonderful city operates. The city of West Hollywood has a form of government that is known as city council, city manager form of government. And this form of government is the most popular structure of government in the United States. And it consists, you see here in this chart, the voters, all of you who vote in the city of West Hollywood, you elect the city council, which is the governing body for the city. The city council then appoints a city manager. That is the day-to-day, executive running operations for the city. And then I'll move into more details, but we have 9 departments in the city with department directors. You've met some of them already this evening. And within each department, there are multiple divisions that are, comprise that department. So as I mentioned, you can see here the breakdown of, the most popular forms of government. And just for contrast, for example, the city of Los Angeles has a mayor-council form of government, and I'll explain as I move on, but instead of having a city council that is the policy body, and then a city manager that is the day-to-day executive running operations. Like in Los Angeles, it's a mayor-council form of government where the mayor is actually the chief executive for the city. In your binders, you're going to find information, more information on a brochure about this form of government, so you can learn in more detail, sort of like, how they're organized throughout the U.S. and, why cities, have these forms of government. So you can look at your leisure this information. But essentially, I'll give you an overview here. As I mentioned, we have the city. In addition to having the governing body, we have, actually it's 9 departments in the city manager's department. We have an executive team that is comprised of the city manager, the city attorney, the assistant city manager, the deputy city manager, and 9 department directors. We have 23 divisions, and that's where you see here, I can't see this is not, don't have a pointer, but you'll see the main box in each of these designations. There's a department director, and you'll see below that department director is the division that is comprised, or it's organized under each department. But generally in the city city council manager form of government, so the elected officials, which in our case in West Hollywood are the city council members, and we have 5 council members, they act as the legislative body. They set policies and approve budgets. The council then hires a city manager that is a professionally trained executive to implement those policies and manage the day-to-day operations of the city. And in most cases, you'll have a mayor, but in this, like in our city, where we have 5 city council members elected at large, from those city council members, they elect a mayor that it's usually, or they appoint a mayor that it's usually serving as a ceremonial head within the council. And this form of government aims to balance political leadership with professional administrative expertise. So the council members set the policy, and then the city manager is charged with carrying out the policy set forth by the city council. You're going to hear more from Melissa as she comes up for her presentation about other responsibilities and how they're organized. But essentially, just think of our elected officials as the primary policy-making body. Then the city manager is appointed by the city council and serves as the chief executive to implement the policy and oversee day-to-day operations of the city through these different departments organized and led by a director. And the mayor, like I said, in this case, it's more of a ceremonial role, and it alternates every year where they serve for 1 year. This form of government, it aims to separate the legislative and executive functions, with the council making the policy and then the manager carrying out the policy, so it creates that separation. Sorry about that. And has this professional that sees the operations day to day, because in our city, we also have a part-time council. Unlike the city of Los Angeles, where council members, that is their full-time job. In our city, they have full-time jobs during the day. They're busy all day long, and then they serve the city, after a full day's work. But so they're considered part-time city council members, and that is why then you need an executive, an administrator that is, running the day-to-day operations. And this provides a form of flexibility as well. Can be adapted to different local needs and preferences, with variations throughout the forms of government. But I think that what you see here as a did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. The role of these elected officials, they continue to be the voice for all of you, the residents that elect these council members, to carry out the policies and the vision that you have for the city, the type of city you want to live in, the types of policies you want to see implemented. And then they have the city manager carry out the day-to-day operations. And if they're not happy with the city manager, then they make a decision to not have a city manager anymore and replace him, but that the city manager serves at the leisure of the city council members. And so does the city attorney. As part of, those are the two positions in the city that are appointed by the city council, the city attorney and the city manager. So they both sort of provide a counterbalance, to each other. The city attorney ensures that the city manager is carrying out these policies in accordance with the laws of the city and the state, and in compliance with the direction of the city council. As part of our city, we are, yes. As he was,
Let's get a mic.
he was appointed by the city council.
In 2020.
No, so the way that the process normally works is that when a city manager is selected by the city council, they enter into an agreement. They have a contract. The city manager has a contract and it has terms. And they usually have a fixed term initially, and then they may have extensions of that contract. It could be an annual extension or 2 or 3 annual extensions, and then they continue to evaluate that relationship. But that's how it works, that they appoint the person, they enter into a contract agreement, and that sets forth all, the term, compensation, benefits, and expectations for the position. It varies from city to city. It varies from time to time. Paul was, as you know, a very long-term city manager, and David has been here almost 5 years. So it just really depends, because it depends on who's on council, what they, their vision is, and what they negotiate when they select the person. No.
Sure. Is there a residency requirement for the city or any staff firm?
No, there is no, and that's not allowed by law. You can't have that as a requirement, so it's not a requirement for any of the positions of employees in the city.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. There's a question back there.
Is there an incentive, though, to live in this city? I know, but when Rick Cole was city manager in Santa Monica, they gave him some sort of interest rate buy down or buy down on his mortgage. Is there any incentive for the city manager?
Again, that's part of the negotiations and the kind of agreement they reach at the time that an offer of employment is extended to a manager. So it does vary from city to city. So our city is, comprised of, we have 264 full-time employees. And we have, of those 264 employees, I guess I went to the wrong one. 228 are non-management employees. So the majority of the employees of the cities are not management employees. And, part of, as we continue to talk about the form of government and the operations of our city, you will see that we are a contract city, and I'll provide a little bit more information about that. But that is why, in other cities, sometimes you see they have 1,000 employees, 800 employees, and we operate a very lean operation in the city with 264 employees. And during the summer, we hire a lot of temporary seasonal employees, and that could be an additional 167 to 200 employees that are seasonal employees. So that's the time of the year when you see the numbers of employees in the city increase dramatically, but they're seasonal employees. Does anyone have any questions so far? No? Yes. Mm-hmm. That is correct. So the top Yeah, he was asking if those numbers are the number of employees in each department, and yes, that is correct. So in the box where it says, for example, the first one there, administrative services, that's the entire department, and then you can see each division, how many employees work in each of those divisions.
You have, how are those selecting those or doing anything?
I'm going to tell you to hold that thought because it's coming up in the presentation, and Melissa will share the composition of the boards and commissions and how they are selected. They're basically appointed. Yes.
Jackie, if the council members limited, I'm reading here, limited to 3-term maximum,
Yes.
what if they're not consecutive?
So there, a lot of the questions you guys have, we're going to cover later in this session. So maybe hold your questions, and if we don't get to them, then we can answer them at the end.
Yeah, but both your questions will be answered in Melissa's presentation. Okay. Well, we are going to take a short break right now, and we can continue the conversation, and then we'll regroup after our 15-minute break. Thanks. Welcome back. So you learned about, the city manager, city council, city manager form of government. Now we are going to talk about the type of, law that governs our city. We know cities are organized either as general law cities or charter cities. The city of West Hollywood is a general law city. So what does that mean? So essentially, in California, a city can be organized under the general laws or a city charter, which is also sometimes referred as a city constitution. General law cities are governed by the state's California Government Code, and it just means that the official codes are maintained by the California Office of Legislative Counsel, and while charter cities have adopted their own charters or constitutions, like, for example, the city of Los Angeles, the city of Santa Monica are charter cities, that sometimes it's viewed as granting them more autonomy. General law cities are bound by state laws, even on municipal issues, whereas, as I mentioned, charter cities have supreme authority over their affairs. General law cities are governed by the California Government Code, and, the city of West Hollywood is organized as a general law city and has, meaning that its government structure and powers are defined by the state. And I think Melissa's going to share a little bit more information. But, like I said, our neighbors here, LA City, Santa Monica, Culver City, are charter cities. One moment. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, well, we are just honored to have our Vice Mayor, John Howman. No, come and say some words.
Hey, Jackie, I'm going to have you come to my local government law class and explain the difference between a charter city and a general law city. So Melissa will be able to tell you more about that, but a lot of it has to do with how the internal operations of the city work. For instance, in LA, the mayor is directly elected. We're a general law city. We don't do that in West Hollywood. Anyway, I just came by not to talk about general law versus charter city, but to just thank you all for participating in this program. It's a great opportunity for you to meet some of the key city staff people, but also learn about how the city operates and a lot of the issues that we're facing. I see some of you were at our council meeting on Monday and are probably still recovering from it because it went for 6 hours. But again, thank you. I know a number of you are already very active participants in the community, in neighborhood watch groups, and in boards and commissions. I want to thank you for that service, but I want to thank you all for being a part of this. And I don't know, are the council members coming back at a later point? At the last session. So I will see you again at the end, but thank you, and thank you to the staff for organizing all this. Thank you.
John, our longest serving council member. I wasn't going there. Oh, no. Wait. Go ahead.
So charter formed and incorporated as a general law city, and that's how most cities are formed. Most small cities are, in fact, general law cities. One of the challenges of having a charter, and the people in Santa Monica would confirm this, is that if you want to make changes, you can't do it by an ordinance of the city council. You have to take everything back to the voters, and every time you do that, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I can just talk loud, so.
Well, we're recording, so we want to make sure we can. But yeah, that's it. It does have some constraints. On the one hand, some feel that it gives more autonomy, but you don't have the flexibility that we have, where we bring an ordinance to the city council. You have the first reading, you have the second reading. 30 days later, that ordinance goes into effect. So there are many benefits to it. So. And like we said, Melissa is going to share a little bit more information about that. But this is the form of government. And as you can see from this slide, 361 cities in California are general law cities compared to 121 that are charter cities, including some of our neighbors. And to Vice Mayor's comment, they also run into some constraints that sometimes makes things a little difficult for their day-to-day. In your binders, you have information in more detail about the difference between the two types of cities, and there's a link there that you can go to also obtain additional information if you want to learn more. And as we continue, we will continue to add more information and answer any questions that you have. But we're just a general law city, and it works fabulous for West Hollywood. The other thing, when I mentioned the number of employees that we have, the city of West Hollywood is also a contract city. So what does that mean? We have different groups that are part of the governance of the city and the operations of the city. I mentioned the composition of our city employees. You've met two of our elected officials already. And Melissa will be providing more information, but we have 5 council members that are elected at large, not to a specific district, but they are elected at large. And we have 3 terms, 4 years each, and that's the length of the term that they can serve in the city of West Hollywood. We also, some of you asked about boards and commissions, and we have 6 advisory boards and 10 commissions. And here's a photo of some of our commissioners, and some of you are sitting here with us as well. And then the other group is, contract service providers. We have several, a lot of the functions of the city are provided under contract, and that's why we are able to operate the city with, less than 300 employees. But for example, the one that is most commonly known to most of you is law enforcement. The LA County Sheriff's Department provides law enforcement services for our city, and fire services provided by LA County Fire. We have trash collections, Athens services, and you're familiar with other services like street sweeping, parking enforcement, parking operations, also tree trimming and landscape services. And we also have even part of we're not a utilities city, so some of you, depending on where you live in the city, you get your water from either the city of Beverly Hills or from LADWP. And then electricity is provided by Southern California Edison. So those are, some of these major services that make our city operate and function, that under a full service city like our neighbors in Los Angeles, they provide all of those services in-house. So that's why they have over 1,000 employees, because they have to have employees to provide all of these services. When you count all these services that are provided under contract, if we were to add, that would be thousands of additional people that would have to be employed to provide the services. But those are the main services that you're all very familiar with, and day to day, touch every aspect of your quality of life in our city. And, you will learn from our other departments that will be talking about whether it's public works or, planning, our community development department. And if you have questions about these providers or any concerns, you know where to find us. We have a city app as well that I encourage you to use. It's really easy. You can take photos, you can submit a request, and it gets tracked. You get an email confirmation. So it's a great way to communicate with us when you have any questions or concerns, or you want to report a problem. And this is the end of my presentation here. And now I'm going to turn it over to Melissa to talk about the role of the city clerk. Yes. Okay. Now it's working. I think I heard it. Oh, okay. What's the question? I'll repeat it.
So I'm curious how that works, like how we have two different vendors to supply water for the city.
Yeah, it's, and I think maybe Steve might have a little bit more information about that as well. But yeah, it is just the way that the boundaries of these water districts are designed, and that's why we have, it's almost like sort of east and west, like it's not exactly, so don't quote me on this, but almost like La Cienega. West is the city of Beverly Hills, and east is LADWP. Yes. Any other questions? No? Okay, Melissa, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Melissa Crowder. I am the city clerk for the city of West Hollywood. I know some of you. I recognize faces of others, and some of you are brand new to me. So welcome to your first cohort meeting for the Civic Leadership Academy. Yes? It was engagement for a while, and then we changed it to leadership. So as the city clerk, I am the local elections official. I oversee and administer the California Public Records Act and the California Political Reform Act and the Ralph M. Brown Act. Many of you know it as the Brown Act, or what's called the Open Meeting Law or Sunshine Law. I execute, record, and archive council actions. So today, the day after a council meeting is very busy for my office because we're going through our agenda and we're making sure the resos get numbered and signed, and the same with the ordinances, and we're getting the minutes done because I turn around draft minutes and get them out to the organization the following day. So as Vice Mayor indicated, we had a 6-hour meeting, and I got to relive that 6-hour meeting again the next day. It was great. I am also responsible for all of the city's records. And so minutes, resolutions, ordinances, those are all considered permanent records. So 40 years of permanent records are stored in my office, as well as contracts, as Nicole spoke about, and building codes and all of the commission and advisory board meeting minutes, those all live in my office too. We do have many of those digitized, but we still keep hard copies of certain records, and they have to be stored in the city clerk's office. And I also oversee the municipal code, which is this, and that's just the first part of the municipal code. This does not include Title 19, which is the zoning code, or what many of you know as the land use. And so as the local elections official, what does that mean? So we used to have standalone elections, which meant we conducted the elections. They were held in March, and they were held in March of odd years. And on top of everything we had to do daily, we also got to do the election as well, which, you know, Yvonne Corker was the city clerk when I started, for those of you that know her. We both love elections. I left Beverly Hills. They canceled their election. I came to West Hollywood. We had two. We had one in March and we had one in June because former council member Prang was elected as county assessor. And so we got to have two, but we had a lot of fun. We loved it. You learn a lot about elections when you do standalone elections. And I recognize that elections are very confusing to people, and that is why it's very easy to manipulate people into believing things. And so if you ever have a question about our election or any election or how elections are run, are vote by mail ballots safe, please, please, please reach out to me, reach out to someone in my office, talk to a council member, reach out to anyone, and they will get you into, I will walk you through what it looks like, what the life of a ballot is, just to help you can then educate other people. Because if you tell one person and that one person tells one other, then we demystify the elections process. So for me, as the local elections official now, I am just in charge of the nomination period, so opening up and allowing people to come in and pull nomination papers to run for city council. We will have 3 open seats in November, because we will have 2 council members who will be termed out, unfortunately. And so it's going to be a very interesting November for me in 2026. So I oversee that process, and I work with the LA County Registrar Recorder. I ensure we have vote centers here. We're going to have some for our upcoming November special election that the governor called. So we'll always have, typically we have a 4-day vote center at the Arc, and we have an 11-day vote center at Fiesta Hall. And those, I have a contract with the county that we do for every election. So the candidate filings, I make sure the ballot is correct, and so the Secretary of State does what's called a random drawing, and that's how we establish what the ballot looks like. And then I get a proof of it, I make sure it's correct, and then if we have measures on there, I do that work as well. And then I certify the election, so then I bring an item to council and they certify it. I'm a neutral party. I don't have a dog in the fight. I just ensure that it is done correctly and work with the county to ensure that. And this year we're looking at actually entering into a contract with the Fair Political Practices Commission, because they not only oversee the Political Reform Act, but candidate filings are part of that. And so, you know, when you get mailers, and at the bottom of the mailers, it has the candidate's name, or if it is if it's a independent expenditure committee, it has the top 3 donors. So I would enter into a contract with that PPC to oversee that. So taking that part of my job, I would defer it over to the FPPC, just because it's become really interesting to be an elections official in this time that we live in, even at the local level. And so we're just pushing one more thing over to a different body to make sure that it doesn't look like there is anything untoward going on with our elections and how everyone is treated. The Public Records Act. So every document that exists in local government or any government are the people's records. There are very few records that are exempt from disclosure under the Public Records Act. Some of them would be attorney-client privilege documents. Some of those would be negotiations for a lease. But once the lease becomes approved, then it becomes a public document. When we're going through the RFP process, before we award a contract, anything leading up to the award of the contract would be privileged until the contract is awarded, and then those documents become public. But I would say 95.9999% of the documents that we have in the city are public documents. So the California Public Records Act ensures that you have access to those records. And, you know, it's become very interesting to even oversee that process because as more and more people become aware, you know, we get these very expansive public records requests. They want any and all of X related to this going back for 10 years. And so, like, I'll share, we've been doing a rolling production for one public records request for the last 9 months. And so every 3 weeks, we're releasing another batch of documents because there were thousands and thousands of records that came from that, and they have to be reviewed, redacted, and then shared with the requester. We have to tell them what we redacted from that. So it takes time. And so my office has to ensure that we keep up and we're responding every 3 weeks, or at least letting the requester know what's going on with that, because people can sue a government agency for not producing records to them. So I have to do that. And so it builds trust. So if we tell a requester, yes, we have responsive documents, and there are 50,000 pages of documents, and we're going to be giving you records every 3 weeks, if I don't give it to them every 3 weeks, then I'm breaking that trust with them. So it's just one more piece in the pie to ensure that the people trust their government. And so that's a big part of the role of the city clerk's office. And it gives you a look behind the curtain, as some say. The Political Reform Act, so Chiadu would know this because he's one of my commissioners. You get to do AB 1234 training, which is their ethics training, and they get to do that every other year for 2 hours. It's very, very fascinating material. But it's part of the ethics, it's part of the Political Reform Act. Commissioners also have to file statements of economic interest, or what we call Form 700s. And they do it when they assume office, so when they're sworn in, they do it when they leave office, and then annually as they're appointed officials. And what this is if you're a business license commissioner or a public safety commissioner or an LGBTQ plus commissioner, it's the ability for members of the public to look at that Form 700 and see if you have any property, business, stocks, anything that would jeopardize your ability to be fair in looking at things that come before you. But it's also a way to just put that information out there. So it's like, here it is. Here's everything. Here's the properties that I own. Here are the stocks that I have. For us in West Hollywood, it's a little simpler because we don't allow elected officials, city employees, appointed officials to accept gifts. So that takes a big chunk out of what is disclosed. And we have a lot of renters in West Hollywood, so that adds another element. So there isn't that property aspect. And, you know, when council members are appointing the appointed officials to different boards and commissions, if they have someone who owns a multitude of businesses, is it a good idea to put them on the business license commission? Maybe, because they're a business owner. They understand what it means to own a business and operate a business in West Hollywood. Or would they have to recuse themselves so often from items before them that it would be silly to appoint them? So it's something to consider. So again, under the Political Reform Act, we have statements of economic interest that my office oversees, as well as right now the campaign finance stuff. And we also oversee lobbying for the city. So if you go on the website, you'll see we have a lobbyist log. It gets updated. Some of you may be aware of who our lobbyists are. Afria Consulting is one of them, Seymour Consulting. And you'll see them come before council or planning commission, and they make that disclosure. I'm lobbying, and I'm lobbying on behalf of this entity, and this is why. And as long as they provide that information, and we make it available to the public, and they disclose it during public hearings, that is all allowed under the law. But the whole goal of all of this is to determine if there are conflicts of interest, and if there are, for us to address them, and also to make the public aware if there are conflicts of interest. So the Brown Act is our open meeting law. Our appointed officials probably get really tired of hearing about it, but you know, when you hear me take roll call at council, if you've ever watched a council meeting and I say we have a quorum, what that means is I have half plus one, and that's what's required. I have to have 3 council members here in order to conduct a meeting. For our commissions and boards, there's 7 members, so they have to have 5 people there in order. 4. I can count, I promise. They have to have 4. It was 5 when they were 9 for the advisory board, so I was like, wait, I can count. So they have to have 4 there in order to have quorum. It's always half plus 1. And so what does the Brown Act ensure? So we have an agenda. Why do we have an agenda? The agenda lets the public know what the body is going to be talking about, so that if you're a member of the public and we're going to talk about Fountain Avenue, which I don't want to talk about Fountain Avenue again, but then you know I need to be at that meeting because I want to be there to, you know, say my 90 seconds of public comment on Fountain Avenue. And we do it at least 72 hours. Actually, in West Hollywood, we typically post our agendas anywhere from 5 to 7 days ahead of the meeting, which is very rare. When I first came here, I was like, wait, what? We don't do it at like 73 hours, because that's what I was used to. And that's good and bad. It's good because it gives the public a lot of time to know if they want to go to that meeting, but what happens occasionally is we have to revise the agenda, and it worries me because, you know, we have other posting locations, and I'm like, did they take the old one down and put the new one up? And, you know, I freak out a little bit, and I wake up in the middle of the night, but you guys don't need to know about that. And so the reason that when a member of the public comes and they ask the commission or the board or the council a question, and the council can't respond or get into a conversation about that, is because it's not on the agenda. And so we can't talk about it, because maybe that question that was posed or what they wanted to talk about, you also wanted to talk about, and you wanted to talk about. And had you known that it was on the agenda, you would have come to the meeting. So that's why we can't talk about things that aren't on the agenda. It's not because we don't care, or not because we don't want to have a conversation with you. It's legally we can't. It ensures that the decisions that the councils, the commissions, the boards make or recommend are done in a public setting. So that's why we have a staff report. It's why we have public comment, because it is your meeting. This is the people's business. And then it's why you hear the questions from the council. It's why you get to hear their deliberations. The only time you don't get to hear deliberations is when they're in closed session, and they can have conversations about real estate negotiations, or the memorandum of understanding with the employee bargaining units, or they can talk about litigation. But any of the final decisions, the final lease, the final memorandum of understanding with the bargaining units, and the final action of litigation has to be made in public. So when the city attorney does the report of closed session, that would be the time she would say, and in the matter of this, the council has decided to settle with the litigant, or you'll see the lease on an agenda. So the final action has to be done in public. And then the reason that you see all the correspondence sitting out in the lobby, it's so that you see every piece of information that the city council or the commission or the board used to reach the decision they made. So you're privy to everything that they were privy to. And it is my office's responsibility to make sure that that continually happens and to ensure that members of the public get to participate in public meetings. And so thank you to those of you who do come and participate. We do hear you. It is important. Keep showing up. And then I execute, record, and archive council actions. So what do I do after council meetings? So ordinances. If an ordinance was introduced on first reading, my office comes back with the second reading at the next meeting. And then in 30 days, not always, because some of them are urgency ordinances, so they go into effect right away. And some of them have a specific date that says, we're not putting this into effect until July 1st of 2026, for whatever reason. And I'll kind of walk through an ordinance with you just so you can kind of see what that really means. And everything goes, an ordinance becomes part of the municipal code, which is the local city laws. And resolutions do an informal act. So we're celebrating Bi-Visibility Week, or we're honoring Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Or there are some sections of the code that state any future revisions to this code section can be done by resolution. And that's just to simplify the process a little more, so you're not doing a first reading again, a second reading, and waiting another 30 days. It gives us a little bit more time to institute things in a more immediate fashion. Okay, so together, like between all of those things, I am protecting your right to information about what is going on in the city where you live. And to ensure that, democracy exists in the city of West Hollywood. And I take that obligation very seriously. So, okay, my next slide. City Council. Oh, yes, questions.
Sorry.
Just grab the mic, yeah.
On the Brown Act about not being able to ask a question related to something not on the agenda, how does something get placed on that agenda? Can someone just email in and ask, or how does one make that official?
So a couple different ways. So you could come to council and speak under public comment and say, I am a resident and XYZ is going on and I'm not quite sure why that's happening, and I would hope that the council would take up this discussion at some point. Or you could reach out to the council, one of the council members directly, or all of them directly, and ask that it be brought up. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it happens.
Thank you. One additional question.
Yeah.
On the closed sessions, were those 3 topics comprehensive, like
exhaustive?
Yes, or were those just 3 random examples of things that could be discussed in a closed session?
Those are the major ones. So it's leases, or I should say real estate transactions, employee bargaining, MOUs, litigation. So whether that's initiation of litigation, potential litigation, we were made aware that maybe something was going to happen. And you'll see it listed on the closed session. It'll say what we're talking about and why. But it's a very finite group of things that they can talk about in closed session. Most other things have to be done in a public meeting.
In regards to the Brown Act, lobbying, where's that fit in? Because lobbyists are lobbying, and
yeah, how does it fit into the Brown Act? In what way? Because as long as they disclose that they're lobbying and they've registered as a lobbyist with the city.
Councilman Heilman, who was here, and I say, I'd like to meet with you about da-da-da-da.
That's not lobbying, because you're not doing it on behalf of an organization. If you do it on behalf of an organization and you are doing it to have them benefit that organization in some way, now you're lobbying.
Okay, and what's the rule on that?
So we have the lobbyist rules are identified in the municipal code, and it says you have to register with the city clerk's office. There is a fee, and you have to tell us what your name is and who you're lobbying on behalf and for what purpose. So are you lobbying on behalf of, the development for the former Viper Room property, and in what aspects? Is it for land use? Is it for a potential billboard? Is it for all of those things? So our lobbyist form asks all those questions, and then you're added to our lobbyist log, or the list that we have.
So is it illegal for a lobbyist who has a project who meets one of the council members on the street at a club, and then they start talking about the project and asking for support?
It is, because you'll see when that item comes before the council, the mayor will say, do my colleagues have any disclosures? And they'll say, I met with the representative of the organization, I walked the neighborhood, I spoke with the residents. That's the opportunity for them to say on the record the things they did prior to the meeting.
I just wanted to say thank you for your service. I read all of your emails, including the council minutes, and I've read them for other cities, and I just really appreciate the clarity of the minutes here.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sorry, one more question.
Oh, no.
Do these lobbying rules and regulations only apply to the council, or do they also apply to all people in city government?
So they apply to city staff, they apply to commissioners, they apply to anyone who has any sort of influence in the organization. And so even city employees are subject to post-employment lobbying rules. And so we're not allowed to come before anybody of the organization to lobby for a period of 2 years after we leave service here.
So a business owner could not pitch themselves to a city employee?
They could.
In that way?
Yeah.
Is that
That's not
considered-
lobbying. I want to open a business, and so I'm going to go speak with Laura Byrie in economic development and have her walk me through what that process looks like. Because for a lot of people who've never opened a business before, it can be a daunting process. And especially if you want to get into the cannabis side of things, because we have specific locations that have specific uses, and it can be overwhelming. And so part of economic development, and you have a whole session with them, but they will tell you that, the goal, they work with the chamber, they work with the Small Business Association, and they were charged by the council to help businesses thrive and come into West Hollywood. So that's not really considered lobbying.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Actually, on that note about how supportive WeHo is of businesses, we now are running WeHo Loves Locals for all of you. I bought one. Hello, thank you. And if you all don't know, that means if there are participating businesses, if you buy a gift card, the city will actually give you 50% on top of that to spend in the city. So again, very, very pro-business. But you know what I've always been curious about? Like Mondays, right? You work till midnight. Do you get to come in later the next day or on Monday?
Janet's really mean, and she makes me come in at 6 o'clock the next day.
I've always been super curious about that, because it's gotta suck.
I'm very fortunate now. The one thing that I say was good that came out of the pandemic is that we get hybrid. We have a hybrid work schedule. And so unless I have, and this has happened, I have an in-person meeting scheduled the following day, I do work from home the day after the council meeting. But because, if I have a 6-hour council meeting, you can imagine what the minutes are like the next day and everything else that has to get done. So I start the next day. It's usually today that I kind of hit the wall and I'm a little tired. And then they schedule the Civic Leadership Academy on Wednesday, But we're all suffering together because we were all there. So yeah, before COVID, yeah, we were in the office the next day at 8 o'clock to do it all over again. Yeah, because I will say drafts for the next council meeting are usually due that day. Sometimes we get a break like this. We have an extra week in September. So yeah, we're just that busy little city, you know. So one of the things I want to talk about, because it's going to be a big deal, is city council and how you run for city council. I heard someone mention that their partner is running, and I think I know who that is, because I have noticed every election cycle it gets earlier and earlier and earlier. And so you have to be a resident and a registered voter in West Hollywood. They are elected at large. What does that mean? It means we are not broken up into districts, and you're not voting for a person per district. So our council members represent the entire city of West Hollywood, not just a certain portion of West Hollywood. They serve 4-year terms with a 3-term maximum, and no, the terms do not have to be consecutive. So we had a council member who did have a break in service and came back. It still applies to the 3-term maximum, and even partial terms. So there was a period where they had a shortened term. It wasn't the full 3 years. It was 4 years. It was 3 years and 9 months. The partial term still counted towards one of the 3 terms. So Councilmember Meister and Vice Mayor Heilman will both be termed out. So there will be 3 seats open. Mayor Byers is up for re-election, and then we have 2 fully open seats. So it'll be very busy, as I said. The mayor and vice mayor are elected by their peers, so we do that in December, and then in January we do the installation and reorg. And typically it's like who's next in line is who becomes the next mayor. And we're now November of even years because we consolidated with LA County, and that was a result of SB 415. It was like if you didn't meet a threshold of a percentage of voters in your city, then you had to consolidate with LA County. It wasn't by choice that we did that, but I will say they are a great partner. And if you're interested and want to see the canvas, they have added all new cameras and all this newfangled stuff into their canvassing center. They actually did a tour with us a few months ago, and it was really cool. So I encourage you. I will actually put a link up on the elections page as we get closer to that. Council meetings. What do I do for council meetings? I got to get through this really fast because I'm going over time. Agenda, staff reports, resolutions, ordinance, public hearings, and closed session. Those are all the things that we do. And so if you look at the last agenda from Monday night, we had all of those things except for a closed session. We don't have a closed session every meeting. It's only when we have things that we have to talk about. One of those things is the city manager recruitment. So there are going to be more special closed sessions so that the council can go through that process. As Jackie shared, we have 10 commissions and 6 advisory boards. Each of those have 7 members, and I oversee all of those appointed officials. I work with them as well as the liaisons and secretaries to the boards and commissions. I do all of their training, their onboarding, their orientation. They get sick of hearing from me, I think, sometimes. And then I make sure that the secretaries and liaisons are trained and that they're doing things appropriately as far as the Brown Act and parliamentary procedure and all of those things. Because, for me, council meetings are a very big part of my job. But for the support staff for the boards and commissions, that is just a small piece of what they do every day as part of their work, so it's not always top of mind. And if you look, we have a commissioner board that pretty much oversees anything you could imagine. So I did try to make some changes to the advisory boards this last go around, and they were open to reducing the number of appointed officials, but not the frequency. There may be another conversation about that. But I am available. I have some handouts that I'm going to just pass around to you guys to put in your binders, and I have the municipal code. I have one of the nomination or candidate handbooks from our election a couple years ago, and one of the commission handbooks so that you can just see everything that everyone gets when they are onboarded. And I will turn it over to Andy.
Hi again, everybody. Just
breaking stuff over here. So we want to be respectful of everyone's time today. I know we're supposed to end at 8. We are probably going to go a few minutes over. My presentation will be about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. But if you need to leave right at 8, feel free to leave. And sorry that we're running a little bit over, but we had a lot of content today, and we wanted to meet you all and provide enough time for all of that. So I am, like I said earlier, my name is Andy Lovano. I'm the assistant to the city manager. So me and my team are sort of the behind-the-scenes people that help the city manager and the city council members do their jobs. So you don't necessarily see us as often as you see the other people, but we're kind of like, the machine in the back, making sure that things are getting done. So these are some of the main functions of our staff. We offer city manager and city council support. We do legislative affairs. We serve as the liaisons and secretaries to 4 advisory boards and 1 commission, and we oversee many community events and co-sponsorships. So I won't go into the last 2 bullets here too much, but we oversee the Social Justice Advisory Board, the Transgender Advisory Board, Women's Advisory Board, and Russian-Speaking Advisory Board, as well as the LGBTQ+ Commission. And the department also oversees over 50 events per year that are focused on some of these advisory boards and the commission, as well as other co-sponsorships that we partner with external organizers on, so things like film screenings or festivals in the park. We had a huge event last weekend with the ABC Book Foundation. There was thousands of people in the park, and that was really successful. We have a few events coming up that I'll plug. This Friday, we have a panel in recognition of Bivisibility Week, and that is going to be here in the council chambers this Friday. And then next weekend, Saturday, September 27th, we have a film screening on a film, Quake Heroes, and that's in recognition of Emergency Preparedness Month. So there's a lot going on, and make sure you're tuned into the city calendar to keep track of all of that. But in terms of the city manager and city council support, we draft and track the council initiatives. So if you have read a council-initiated staff report in the past 10 years, I probably helped draft that or research it or was kind of behind the scenes on that. We serve as a liaison between the council members and city staff. We provide administrative support to the council members in terms of scheduling meetings with city staff, with constituents, making sure they get to the events they're supposed to get to, and conferences and travel and things like that. The Equity and Inclusion Officer, Jamaica Carter, she is also housed in the City Manager's Department. And we handle any other special projects that may arise, such as the Civic Leadership Academy. And really quickly, I'll talk about some of our legislative affairs efforts, because I think this is something that people don't often know about, or you wonder why the city is sending a resolution about something. So this is an important part of the city's priorities, and the city has a longstanding history of supporting progressive policies that advance the quality of life for our residents and for our community. We have a lobbyist in Sacramento and a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. Our lobbyists in Sacramento we work with very often on a daily basis, and we monitor legislative proposals that may impact our city. To give you an idea, there were like 2,000 bills introduced this legislative session in Sacramento. I think we took a position on like 27, so we have to be strategic and not just supporting everything, even if something is something that we would support. If it's like gonna pass and doesn't really need a lot of advocacy, we might put our name on it just because it's really important to us, but we might not if it's something that we can work on putting our time and effort into something else instead. So we have to monitor and make sure that we're spending our time wisely with all of that. And we also collaborate with many partners, including the California League of Cities, California Contract Cities Association, and other organizations to engage and advocate on the city's behalf. And our council members are also very involved in a lot of these organizations as well, serving on their boards, serving on committees, making sure that the city of West Hollywood's voice is heard in those conversations that happen, especially at the state level. We do get involved in federal things, but as many of you know, not that much happens at the federal level. And when it does, right now, it's not that great for us. So at the beginning of every legislative session, the City Council adopts a set of legislative priorities that help guide the city's lobbying and advocacy efforts for the next 2 years. The legislative priorities are expansive and cover several topics, and I've just listed a few of the most important priorities for us at the moment. In recent years, a lot of the legislation at the state level has focused on issues of housing and homelessness. West Hollywood is very focused on many of the civil rights and social justice issues, focusing on LGBTQ plus equality, reproductive rights, health and human services, and things like that. As I kind of alluded to, the City Council gave us direction to monitor and respond to any actions from the Trump administration that may be counter to the city's core values and legislative priorities. So we have an internal staff working group that meets every other week to discuss any recent actions and respond as necessary. What is the response? It kind of depends on what it is, but we have issued letters and sent letters to our federal elected leaders. We've issued news releases. We have social media posts. At times, our city attorney has joined onto like an amicus brief if there's a lawsuit that's coming against the Trump administration. So that has happened a couple times as well. Obviously it's a tricky situation, and many of the things that are coming out of this administration are counter to the city's core values and the legislative priorities that we deem to be significant. At the council meeting on Monday, the city council received an update on some of the actions that the city has taken in response to the Trump administration. So if you are interested, that staff report was in the September 15th agenda, and I'd be happy to send that to you with more details as well. So more information on any bills that we support and oppose are at our website, weho.org/legislative. Thank you.
In the interest of time, I want to ask you, I can give you a quick overview of the role of the city attorney in the city of West Hollywood. Our city attorney couldn't be with us tonight, so she recorded a 10-minute video. So I'm asking you, if you want to watch it, we will play the video, or we can email you the link to the video, but we just want to be responsible of your time. Email, okay, there we go. Right on, you're the boss. Well, so just quickly, in a general law city, the city attorney acts as the legal advisor to the city government, providing legal counsel, drafting ordinances and contracts, and representing the city in both civil and criminal proceedings. For the city of West Hollywood, our city attorney is Lauren Langer, and like many of our functions, it is also provided under contract. Lauren works for the firm Best & Krieger, often referred to as BBK, and she has been with the city attorney as long as David Wilson has been our city manager, and we will email you the link to the video that she recorded with the functions of the city attorney. And we are also going to email you a link to a video that we call it Dysfunction Junction. Oh my God, this is like really small. I'll try to read this. Just so you know, the intent of the video is to demonstrate what shouldn't happen in a public meeting, in a public setting. So there's a lot of exaggerations, and it's a parody, and it's meant to demonstrate through comedy how, civil discourse should not be handled. So there are characters, it'll be like a mock presentation of a city council and interactions between the council members and the public. So just understand that nothing in the video is intended to be offensive to anyone, but just through the use of comedy to really highlight that this is not the way to handle civil discourse. So just want to give you that disclaimer. There will be a longer disclaimer when the link is mailed to you, but please view it through that lens because it is just intended to demonstrate to you with the context that you just got here tonight that these rules are the framework that help us conduct the business of the city legally and in accordance with the state regulations that we must abide by as a general law city. And with that, I'd like to again welcome you and say thank you. We look forward to spending the next 8-9 weeks with you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And we're just thrilled that you signed up for this course and that you want to be engaged in learning how our wonderful city operates to serve all of you better. Thank you and good night.